Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
Agencies have to be released, da, 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 da. Well, what does that mean? Right? And a newer agent doesn't exactly know why there even is a contingency, right? And a contract. So, but anyway, so
do you mind if I share something with you?
yeah.
One of the absolute coolest things that ever happened in my life involved you.
Who, me?
You.
Oh, why? Why is that?
I've never shared this with you. And
Oh,
I've
no.
always wanted to.
Oh,
Years ago, you called me and
I
you
did.
said, I'm the head of the education committee for the ALC, Agent Leadership Council.
Yes.
And we decided that we as a group decided that we want you to teach scripts here.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because
That was one of the
you're the
coolest
expert at it.
That was one of the coolest moments of my life.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, you got
Really
to
meant,
know that. You have to know that yourself too, though, right?
it
I
meant a
mean,
lot to me. It really
you
did.
are. Oh, well, I'm glad you shared that because you are good. You're like the expert at that. So we want our agents to learn from the best, right? So yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah, of course. So when I called the DRE here in San Diego, I said I really want to take the real estate exam. What else do I need for classes? And they're like, well, you've already done everything. I said, but that was back in the 80s.
Right.
What?
Right.
But they don't expire ever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, all right, let's give it a shot. So
There we
I
go.
did the real estate trainers 2-day crash course
Yep.
in Kearney Mesa and some hotel, right?
Yep.
And I'm so glad I did that because that instructor literally told us all the answers. It was very good. So I took the exam and I passed.
Yeah.
And then I got my real estate license in 2009. And then recently in 2021, I got my broker's license.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So,
We're a better industry because you're a broker now.
well, thank you. Thanks.
You're
Thanks
one
so
of the
much.
good ones. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I hope I can inspire someone to learn and get into this business the right way, right? For the right reasons too,
We already have. There's a whole litany of people that you've helped over the years that are now incredibly successful on their own. I walked into an office that was not a Keller Williams office the other day, and I dropped something off for the owner of the office, and I was walking out, and this voice from behind me said, "Mike Litton, what are you doing here?"
Mm.
And I looked up, and it was one of the agents from that scripts class.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Isn't that
Huh.
wild?
That
Right?
is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she literally said to me, she said, "I use things I learned from you every day."
That's awesome.
That
Yeah,
really meant a lot,
it does. It's rewarding and yeah. So here I am, and I'm still on the ALC committee as chair of education. I also, like I said earlier, I do the risk management here. So I do go to mediations when they're needed for agents and sit with our broker. Um, I'm also now on the board of directors for PSAR, the Pacific Southwest Association of Realtors. And I'm getting ready to go to Legislative Day again for the second time up in Sacramento, which I went last year for the first time on a scholarship, and I really got a lot out of that 2-day event. Just being able to sit in front of our legislators and assembly people, and got to meet our senator and the district people. Um, and so why do we do this, right? Like, why do we go to these events?
Mhm.
Because if you really are passionate about a real estate and real estate career, part of that passion for me is making sure that everyone has an opportunity to home ownership,
Mhm.
right? I'm a huge advocate for that, to get people in their own homes,
Mhm.
condos, townhouses, whatever it might be, even a manufactured home, something that to fulfill that dream of being a homeowner here, in California, which we all know that it's very expensive to live here. It is. Um, even though you and I probably are very well, okay, we're good, right? It's still expensive for us to live here.
Oh,
Just
sure.
just a quality of life, daily food and gasoline and all that kind of stuff, like utilities. But and a lot of people are leaving, so we want to try to keep people here in California. And so we go to Sacramento to try to lobby and listen and tell these legislators, look, we need to try to make it available for people to buy a home here. We need more, like we need more opportunities. So that's what this whole legislative day is about, or this event, I should say. And I mean, we we sometimes, I don't want to get too political, but sometimes we're divided, right? Red, blue. When we come together in Sacramento, we don't even think about that.
Yeah.
And when you mix red and blue together, you get purple.
Well, it's what you're doing is vital. And do you mind if I share with you why?
Sure.
Okay. So many, many years ago, I'm dating myself, so it was a long time ago. But I was with my wife. I've been married 30 years now, as of
Awesome.
last January, right?
Well,
Uh,
awesome. That's great.
and we're actually recording on the 19th of April of 2024. So, uh,
Wow.
yeah. So, um, we were newly married. We'd only been married a couple of years, and we were in Lake Elsinore at the factory outlet mall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we had gone into the Van Heusen store, the men's store, the Van Heusen store. And we had picked out a number of polo shirts for me and dress shirts and that kind of thing. And I think you've met me. I'm not long on patience. And so I don't stand in lines well and all that kind of thing. So I went outside and waited, and my wife was standing in line buying these shirts for me and pants and things, right? These
Uh-huh.
clothes. And I'm standing there, and this man is standing next to me, and he's older than me by quite a bit, right? Probably 30 years older than me at the time. And
Mm.
um, I'm standing there, and he said, "So is your wife in there buying stuff for you too?" Right? Well, it
Oh
turns out
yeah.
he was our local congressman,
Oh wow. Okay.
US
Uh-huh.
congressman,
Yeah.
and his name was Duke Cunningham, if you remember Duke,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so we get to talking, and I didn't recognize him. I was just visiting with him, right? And
Yeah.
at one point, his wife comes out and he goes, "Hey, hold on, let me introduce you to my wife." So he introduces me to his wife, and he says, "Listen, I'm the congressman from the district," and I said, "Oh wow, that's our district. You're my representative, right?"
Yeah.
And he
Uh-huh.
said, "Can I ask you a favor?" And I said, "Sure." He said, "Would you be willing to be my eyes and ears on the ground here in San Diego as it
Oh,
relates to real estate?"
wow.
And I said, "Sure, Duke, I'd be happy to. It's great to
Yeah.
meet you. I'm honored, da, 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 right?" I said, "If you can hold tight for just a second, my wife's coming out in a minute. I'd love to introduce you to her." So I introduced them, and his wife and my wife hit it off. Everybody hits it off with my wife.
Oh, cool.
And so we're standing there, the four of us talking. He and I are talking, and the women are talking. And so I end up getting a phone call the next week from his chief of staff in Washington, D.C. And she said, "Listen, you really impressed Duke, and you're going to be our eyes and ears in San Diego. So if there's anything going on there that we need to work on, I want you to have my personal cell phone number. So
Wow.
I have her cell phone number programmed on my phone. And we worked on, I don't know, 3 or 4 different projects, 3 or 4 different things that were happening in San Diego that they needed to know about. And what
Yeah.
was remarkable about it was they jumped on it like right away. So anytime I called, it was minutes when they were on it. I mean, it was crazy.
Wow.
So fast forward about 9 months, and FHA runs out of money. I don't know if you remember this, but FHA ran out of money to insure mortgage condos,
Oh.
mortgage, mutual mortgage insurance for condos.
Mm-hmm.
They ran out of money. They couldn't do it.
Wow.
And it was during the Clinton administration, and Clinton had gone to all of his heads of all of his departments on the cabinet, including the head of HUD, and said, we want you to figure out cost cutting measures. Because if you remember back then, Newt Gingrich was the speaker and they were trying to balance the budget. It was right.
Yeah.
So they ran out of money 90 days before the end of the fiscal year. I had 73 condos that I was trying to close for one builder.
Wow.
It was the end of their fiscal year. They had to report as a publicly traded company to Wall Street. I had 73 condos that I could not close on an affordable housing project in Scripps Ranch Villages because FHA ran out of money. So I picked up the phone and I called her and I said, did you know that FHA ran out of money for the 203B program for condos? And she said, no, I had no idea. And I said, well, they did. And she goes, well, let me get on this right now. I'm not joking, they called the head of HUD, the secretary in charge of HUD, in front of their committee in an emergency session the next morning, first thing. They had funding in less than 24 hours, emergency funding in less than 24 hours for FHA, and we were back to funding loans.
Oh my gosh. See?
I mean, it was one of the coolest things you've ever seen in your life. Here's the deal. What you're doing in Sacramento is absolutely vital.
Yeah, it is.
Because here's the deal, Monica. They don't know what's going on here. They need you more than you realize.
Yes, absolutely. They do want to hear they definitely want to hear. I mean, because right now, we have the California Dream for All, right, which is the 20% down payment assistance program, which rolled out last year, but last year they ran out of money. I mean, well, not that they ran out, but it went fast. It went in 11 days, right?
Well, they are notorious for running out of money. They want to tell everybody what a wonderful job they did, pat themselves on the back, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
To their constituents, but they run out of money in 11 days. That's unconscionable.
Yeah. So it's
absolutely unconscionable.
Yeah.
And so those are the types of things that they need to know from you, right? They need to know from you, hey, you ran out of money in 11 days. We had, 12,000 people that were waiting in line.
Yeah.
Ran out of money in 11 days, right?
Right.
You need to figure this out.
Yeah. Well, it's back.
That kind of feedback.
It's back this year. This year. And now it's on a lottery. So that's because so many people want to qualify, but it's a little harder to qualify this year because it's first generational only. So like my daughters wouldn't be able to apply for this down payment assistance program because I own a house.
Right.
So it's first generation only. So for home ownership, but I mean, it's still a great program and it's going to offer a lot of people to get into home ownership, which is great. So, yeah.
So this is what's so vital. Okay. When you go back to Sacramento, you need to be able to report to them, look, there's thousands and thousands of people that don't qualify for the lottery.
Well, true.
They got shut out of this thing.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
That's the kind of feedback they need from you. Change the law, change the requirement to where it's second and third generation. Okay.
Yeah.
They need to expand the net. They need to be able, because one of the things that we have here is we have a lot of people leaving this state, and a lot of them are first-time home buyers that will never buy in California. Okay. And I'm not joking. We've had Alan Nevin on this program 3 times now. And every single time that we have him on, we get into a conversation about California and specifically about the exodus from California.
Yeah.
Do you know who's leaving California? And you should share this with Sacramento. People that are leaving California are not the upper echelon of income earners. They're the lower tier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The people that work in our kitchens, the people that put our houses together, the people that do the things that we need done, right? They're the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are going to Texas and Florida and all these other places around the country.
Yeah.
What we're getting is and it's not, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but
Right.
what we're getting is we're getting bachelor's degrees, MBAs, and PhDs from around the world that are coming here because there's more venture capital being invested in California than any other place on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So as
Mm-hmm.
the lower rung of income earners leaves and
Mm-hmm.
exits to other states, we have a lot of people coming into California that have more education, they're higher earners, all that kind of thing. They're
Yeah.
not necessarily going to qualify for that first time buyer program.
No,
Okay.
absolutely.
But Sacramento needs to know from you, the expert on the ground, they need to know the cost of not making it a wider net. They need to know the cost of what losing these people is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this for a second. If there's any way that you guys can put together an economic impact study where you show how many people in the lower echelon in terms of income are leaving, show how much that's costing in actual revenue to the state. I'll bet you it pales in comparison the
Oh,
cost of the first time homebuyer program.
oh,
I'll
right.
bet you that cost of that thing pales in comparison to the revenue they're losing every year.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. Possibly.
I
Possibly.
guarantee you it's a huge delta, right? And it's something that they need to figure out a way to counteract that. They need to figure out a way to make it more compelling and easier, not less, for
Mhm.
people to stay here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's great. I mean, those are all good points that you brought up.
Well,
Definitely.
that's why you doing what you're doing is invaluable for us as an industry,
Right.
because you're our voice. You're
Right.
their eyes and ears when you're up there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, something's got to give because our landscaping is just going to totally change here in
Yeah,
California. It's going
yeah,
to
and it's
be the land of the rich and famous, which it's going to be like the second Monaco.
yeah. Well,
Right.
I mean, and that's that's all fine and dandy and wonderful, but who's going to wash the dishes?
Yeah.
Who's going to nail the houses together? Right? Who's going to pour our foundations? You with
Hmm.
me?
Yeah.
We gotta have people here that will do those things for us too,
Yeah.
in order to have a real, true, functioning economy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what they're doing right now is they're creating a dystopia. What I would do is I would get a hold of Carr and have Carr get a hold of their researchers and figure this out, because they can figure these numbers out and give them to you that you
Mhm.
can literally carry to the legislature. And I would submit to you that they would be happy to do it.
Yeah. Right.
They would be
Okay.
happy to do it with all their researchers and all their economists and stuff. They'd be happy to give you that data that then you can deliver to Sacramento and go, look, don't take my word for it. Look at the numbers. You're the
Mhm.
numbers person, Monica, right? You're all about numbers. Take the numbers to them.
Yeah, no, this is all very good. I'm totally taking this all in.
Do you know Kevin Burke by chance?
I do know Kevin Burke,
Burke,
actually.
Kevin's been on here.
Oh, he has?
We
Okay.
had a
Yeah.
great time.
Oh, good. I
Great,
haven't
great
seen
time.
him in a while though. Like, what's he doing?
He's doing a lot with Carr.
Oh, he
He's
is.
he
Okay.
was he's in charge of legislative affairs for Carr. So
Oh, he is.
he's the person that you're going to want to coordinate with.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay, and tell him I sent you.
I will. I
Okay.
will. Yeah. Boy, it's been a while since I've seen him though. I used to go to his training classes at the Keller Williams in Carmel Valley.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, good. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I mentioned it.
So what's happening for tomorrow? What are you working on?
I'm going to be on a boat. I'm going to take the day off because I've been doing open houses every single weekend.
Yeah.
And tomorrow I'm going on a catamaran cruise around San Diego Bay with one of
Beautiful.
my preferred lenders. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Beautiful. Do you mind if I put a shameless plug in here?
Sure.
So we're actually doing a live real estate mastery event with Lab Coat Agents
Oh, yeah. Okay.
on May 14th at 10 a.m.
Hmm.
It's going to be live nationwide.
May 14th, 10 a.m. Okay.
Okay. And at the end of it, there's going to be a 15-minute question and answer that anybody can ask questions and stuff. Do you know what we're going to be talking about?
No.
How to take open houses to a whole nother level.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow. Who's on the
Okay.
panel for that? Anybody?
So the idea behind this was the very first Lab Code Agents podcast interview that I did with them.
Mm-hmm.
we talked about a real estate event that I went to in Texas a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was leaving and I got on a plane in Dallas to fly back to San Diego. And I'm sitting there and this lady that's 2 seats over said, "Hey, do you mind if we save this middle seat for my business partner?" No problem, right? So the business partner gets on, she sits down next to me and she says, I introduce myself and she says, "You're the Mike Litton that owned the Keller Williams office for 18 years since Escondido?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "We've got 1,000,000 questions." I said, "Fire away."
Mm-hmm.
At the time, the market had just shifted and they had just started a brokerage, the two of them.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And they were, going through it, right? And they said, "Let me ask you a question. What should an agent do right now today to jumpstart their business, considering interest rates just jumped to 7% and all this," right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "You've got to go back to the basics. You've got to get face to face.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to do that is open houses and door knocking."
Yeah, you definitely. Yeah.
So I've got this program that I wrote called Open House Mastery.
Oh, okay.
Training, right?
Yeah.
And so I went over the training with her. She took 8.5 pages of notes over the 2.5 hours we were in the air.
Wow.
Okay. It's a true story. And we got off the plane. As we got off the plane, she's like, "Hey, let's get together one of these days, no problem. We will," right? People say that all the time, but right. And I give people advice all the time, on a plane, whatever, right? Over the phone, whatever. And very few of them actually apply it. I get back to San Diego the very next weekend. She has an open house in Santee.
Oh,
Right. And she does everything that I suggested that I trained, except sending out mailers. It's the only thing she didn't do.
Oh.
She had 51 people through in one day.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's definitely. Yeah, it's awesome.
And I texted her and I said, "Hey, congratulations on following what I suggested," right? And she goes, "Best open house ever."
Oh, great. See? Yeah.
So that exact curriculum we're going to be talking about on May 14th.
Okay. And is it in person?
It's over the web with Lab Code Agents. So it'll be live with them.
Well, yeah. So can you send me the invitation to that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would love to sit on that, definitely, and listen.
And tell people about it because I'd love to have people.
Oh,
There's going to be thousands of agents on there apparently.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you send me the link, then we'll get it out to our office here.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
I appreciate you. This has been a lot of fun. I have loved every second of this, and I knew I would. I barely slept last night. I was so excited.
Now, come on.
Monica, thank you for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate the opportunity.
It's been fun.
All right.
We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.